In this video, we explain the BlendIf sliders. Together with the blending modes, BlendIf is one of the best tools for blending different images. More, BlendIf is also a strong selection tool. I will show you 4 examples. The first one is selecting the sky with BlendIf. The second one, brighten up the bow under the bridge. In this one, we replace the sky. In this one, we blend in the bird. But first, let's explain how the sliders are working. In this example, there are 2 layers. The underlying layer, which contains all image information, and the blending layer. As the blending layer, we made an image with the RGB colors with white and black next to it. When you double-click on the blending layer, the layer style screen pops up. In the left menu, make sure you are on the blending options. In the middle, you see that you can combine BlendIf with the various blending modes, and below you have the BlendIf sliders. The BlendIf drop menu is set to gray by default. If you click on it, you can choose one of the RGB colors. There are 2 layers with sliders, this layer and the underlying layer. If we move the white point of this layer a bit to the left, you will see that white disappears. If we move the black point of this layer a bit to the right, you will see that black disappears. If we choose the red channel, we can move the red point to the left and red disappears. White also disappears because it's brighter than red. If we choose the green channel, we can move the green point to the left and green disappears. White also disappears because it's brighter than green. If we choose the blue channel, we can move the blue point to the left and then blue and white disappears. If we move the sliders at the underlying layer, we see that the color disappears based on the rest of the image, and that is completely different with what happens with the top layer. We can feather the sliders by holding down Alt, and then the slider can be split. This makes the transition a lot smoother. Let's do some practice. In this image, we are going to select the sky. We duplicate the background layer, and we do it once more. We uncheck the 2 underlying layers. Double-click on the top layer, and the layer style screen pops up. Because the sky is blue, in the drop-down menu, we select the blue channel. We push the blue point from this layer to the left. And you see the sky disappears. What not all photographers know is that to make a selection, you have to convert this layer into a smart layer. We make a right click on the top layer and we create our selection. We check the second layer and uncheck the top layer. And now we create a mask. We delete the top layer. We paint in the mask with a white brush to make some corrections on the selection. Holding down Alt, we click in the mask. The parts that are not entirely white, we paint with white. Right-click in the mask and we create our selection. We check the underlying layer and we delete the top layer. And now we save our selection. In this example, we're going to brighten up the bow under the bridge. We create a new layer. With the Quick Selection tool, I make a selection of the shade under the bridge. I paint the selection with white. I double-click on the top layer and the Layer Style screen pops up. I toggle the sliders of the underlying layer. Set the blending mode to Soft Light. And then toggle the sliders again. And here is the result. Before, after. In this example, we're going to replace the sky. I select the sky in my sky library and drag it over the background layer. With Ctrl T, I resize the sky and put it just above the horizon. I double-click on the top layer to reach the blend if sliders. I drag the black point slider from the underlying layer to 115, then split it, and then drag the right side of the slider to 227. Working with those sliders, you have to do it very subtle. Now let's have a look in detail. If we look to the trees, they look quite good. If we go very deep in detail, we see some halos, with which we settle in further processing. If we look to the statue, it looks really good. And if we look to the Eiffel Tower, also look very nice. Isn't this a nice result? This is another example. I have a landscape and an image of a bird. I copied the background of the bird image on the landscape image. I want to blend the bird with the landscape in such a way that it appears that it partially flies above the clouds. I double-click on the top layer and the blending style screen pops up. Again, I toggle with the sliders of the underlying layer. The clouds are beginning to come through. To make the transition soft, we split the slider. Using Ctrl T, we put the bird in the right size on the right place. And here is the result. I have now shown you 4 possibilities, but I'm sure you will find many more yourself.